Shalom, shalom. This is your brother Yashimai from the JMS Atlanta camp. Before I get into this message, I want to start off by giving all praise, all glory, and all honor to Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'Hashem, Kwakwadash, and I want to send double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, whom will and teach well. This is going to be a quick video about the sword.
Days, we're seeing more reports from Israeli officials talking up the possibility of a wider conflict between Israel and Hezbollah. But at this stage, Israeli officials have not said anything about this.
Right. So I'm sure that you all have seen this and articles about this explosion happening. In a nutshell, the small hats were able, and they still don't know yet, but they were able to make these beepers explode. And these explosions, people had these beepers in their pockets, their front pockets, their back pockets, in their hand. It was 2,750 explosions, man. And the reason I'm putting this message together is because it just goes to show who the wicked is. It just goes to show who Esau is. Because, let's go ahead and get some precepts. Because we know that, Psalm 64. Let's get it in this one here. Because we know that according to Scripture, Esau would be somebody that would rule by the sword, right? And I mean, it's very plain. We go into this all the time, and I know sometimes it seems repetitive, but I want to post this message because who else would it be? Who else has the blessing of the sword? Now, when Scripture talks about the sword, it's talking about weaponry. It's talking about attack systems, war, a full military, it's talking about weapons, man. Who got the blessing of the sword? Let's go ahead and get into it. Verse 38. This is Genesis 27 and 38. And Esau said unto his father, Hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven from above. And by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. So the sword, the blessing of the sword was given to one nation of people, and that's Esau, Edom. A couple months ago, the prime minister of Israel was quoting, saying that this was last year. After them October 7th attacks happened, the prime minister was quoting Scripture saying that Amalek must be destroyed. He was talking about himself, man, because Amalek, Amalek is an Edomite, right? And we see here that Esau was blessed with the sword, right? So if we know the blessing of the sword, it can't be the Palestinians, because though they have weapons, they're not nearly advanced, man. I mean, these Palestinians are throwing grenades, they're throwing rocks, they're not at advanced, you know. Only somebody with a blessing. I mean, think about it. These people were able, throughout the whole world, send out a signal. They were able to track the beepers that they wanted, and you know, by coincidence, it turns out to be all of them were Hezbollah. But they were able to track down who they wanted, and with a signal, they were able to make them blow up. So now the question is how did this happen? Did they intercept them during shipping, or did they, or were they working alongside the manufacturer of these pagers? Let's get another video here. So now the company that makes these pagers, Motorola, is suing the nation of Israel because now nobody wants to buy their softwares. But I mean, really, it's not even about Motorola, because now for those people that are listening in, now you have to ask yourself, if they can do this with 1980s, 1990s technology, I mean, this cell phone that I'm making this message on could have a bigger explosion. I mean, and it doesn't just stop at cell phones, man. You know, it could be your thermostat. Hell, it could be your Wi-Fi router. Check this out.
They had, a camera looking at a space with people in it. That's sort of like coming in from one eye. The other eye is the radio signals, sonar from the Wi-Fi router, and they just learned to predict, like, this is where the human beings are. Then they took away the camera. So all the AI had was a language of radio signals bouncing around a room, and this was what they're able to reconstruct. Real-time 3D pose estimation, right? So suddenly AI has turned every Wi-Fi router to a camera that can work in the dark, specially tuned for tracking living beings.
I mean, who has the blessing of the sword, man? Who on this planet has the most advanced weaponry? Because according to Benjamin Netanyahu, it's the Palestinians, but no, they don't have that blessing. They got AKs, man. Palestinians are still fighting with guns used from the 1990s, man. They're 30 years behind, man. The blessing of the sword was given to Esau. Now, who did the world just witness wield that sword amongst a specific group of people, man? We saw the so-called, we saw the small hats do it, man. This is Psalm 64. Verse 1, hear my voice, O Yahweh, in my prayer. Preserve my life from fear of the enemy. Right. Who's the enemy? Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity. Right. And we know that iniquity is sin among sin. And we know that this certain group of people control all the media. They push a certain agenda, and they build upon that agenda sin against sin, upon sin upon sin. That's iniquity. Verse 3, who whet their tongue like a sword and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words, that they may shoot in secret at the perfect. Suddenly do they shoot at him and fear not. They encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune of lying snares privily. They say, who shall see them? Right? I mean, this is some devious things, man. You know, and matter of fact, let's do a quick search here. Let's do, is Israel the most advanced spyware? How AI, big tech, and spyware power Israel's occupation. Let me see. Is Mossad the most advanced? This is from Israel Hayom. Is Mossad the world's best spy agency? By using small, highly trained forces to assassinate key figures, the Mossad minimized Israel's intelligence agency. The Mossad has a reputation for executing daring and innovating missions to protect the nation from terrorist threats. Right? They create the enemy, and once they've made the enemy by having their media brainwash the people into telling you that they're the good guys and they're the bad guys. Once that enemy's been created, they protect the world. From taking down terrorist leaders to using unorthodox methods, the Mossad's operations have inspired movies, books, and TV shows. Here are 4 of the Mossad's wildest stories that showcase their strategic brilliance and unwavering commitment to justice. I'm not going to read all the. Let's read right here. One of the agency's most infamous missions was its response to Munich on September 5, 1972. 8 gunmen of the Palestinian militant group Black September broke into Israeli team's flat at the Olympic Village in Munich, shooting tube. The Peace Olympic Games were meant to show off. In 1973, the Mossad executed a bold operation in Beirut to eliminate terrorists. The strategy involved deploying troops from naval vessels into Lebanon's shoreline. These soldiers would then make their way into Beirut posing as vacationers. Once in the city, they would rendezvous with Mossad operatives who had prepared rental vehicles. To minimize suspicion when moving through Beirut during late night hours, some commandos adopted female personas. Motherfuckers were transmission experts back then. Since 1973, these guys have been cross-dressers. To minimize suspicion, particularly, this tactic was designed to make the group appear less conspicuous as they navigated the city streets around midnight. And I mean, who knows what they were doing? They were probably on the job, doing their little side money. I mean, these people are disgusting, man. They managed to successfully take down high-ranking PLO officials, crippling. So, man, it's just numerous accounts of them and their sword, man. Consistently painting people. I mean, how do you go into a continent, how do you go into a territory, man, and take land from them, right, supposedly, and then say that your life is in danger when you're 40 years advanced? It doesn't make sense. Hezbollah is not blowing up pagers. You are. Who's got the sword? Esau Edom, man. You are Esau Edom. You are Amalek. So, I just want to put together this short message and show them, man. But verse 7, but Yahweh shall shoot at them with an arrow. Suddenly shall they be wounded. So shall they make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away. That's right. Their tongues are falling upon themselves, because when Netanyahu said Amalek must be destroyed, he was prophesying against himself. That was his tongue falling against himself. And we know that the arrows of Yahweh are going to clean and purify Israel from all the nasty parades, man, because that's our land. All them that see them shall flee away. And I mean, if y'all truly were the people, why was all of your citizenry running away when a couple weeks ago when Israel was going to go to war, man? Right? Because they know that they're not the people, man. So, I want to go ahead and end this message. Like I said, I just wanted to prove who has the sword, man. Esau Edom. The so-called JOOs.